Hey, everybody, welcome into another edition of the Parenting Puzzle Podcast with the amazing Dr. Owen. How you doing, Dr. D?
I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you doing today, Jake?
I am doing wonderful. I'm very excited about today's podcast. I'm
Me
very,
too.
I'm not supposed to say this, but this might be our best podcast ever. I'm just saying, we have my friend, the amazing Haley, with us today. Haley, thank you so much for doing this. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and honored to be here. And I'm well, thank you.
I think we should
How are
just
you
take
guys?
that. We're doing good. We could take that and just reverse it. We're honored to have you, not the other way around. We're honored to have you. So this is how I like to start it, if it's okay with you, Haley, and you
Sure.
can take this where you want to. Just tell us a little bit about you and your parenting journey and a little bit about your family, whatever you're comfortable sharing, and we'll just take it from there.
Sure. So I'm Haley Thorne. A uh I'm a nurse, I'm a mom, I'm an author, I'm a singer-songwriter. I do a lot of things. uh and in several different ways. I've kids books, romance novels, and nonfictions. Uh I also I'm from Europe. I'm from Amsterdam. Um, I traveled quite a bit. I've been to 34 countries. This is the seventh one I'm living in, and speak five languages. Did a lot of schooling. And when I got over to the States, um, which was supposed to be just a vacation type of thing, visiting some friends, I ended up staying, met. Uh, my husband, and then that didn't work out, and then but then I knew my husband, but we were friends, and now we have a beautiful family. um we have three beautiful boys. um it was Unfortunately, we have an angel baby. It was his 3-year angel anniversary yesterday.
Oh,
um but then uh, Sky Daddy who blessed us with two other beautiful boys. We have an 11-year-old and a 4-year-old. Uh, my husband and I, we have reversed gender roles in the household. I, like I said, I do a lot of things. My husband is retired military, and he gets to stay home with the babies. So, in a nutshell, I guess.
Quite the nutshell.
no, yeah, that's an awesome. Hey, Haley, how many
Yes,
degrees do
sir.
you have? It's an impressive number.
8,
8
8.
degrees.
I'm
5
a nerd.
languages. So,
Hmm.
Haley, obviously your background is impressive. Um, Everything you do with the music and the books and the brand you've built is amazing. Is there anything that you would like to ask Dr. D? Any current challenges that you're having?
Well, okay, so actually, let me reveal a little bit more of the story. So,
Okay, perfect.
um, our 11-year-old, he is not biologically mine, but we've had custody of him since he was almost 6 years old, full custody. Um, the household where he came from was very unhealthy. Um, a lot, there was no rules, a lot of manipulation. He has four, no, hold on, three older siblings that are from the same mother but a different father. And all four of these children have significant trauma. Uh, like I said, he's 11 now. He was almost 6 when we got him. Uh, it was a very, it was it's a tough journey to get where we are now, and it's still sometimes a little tough. We make very sure that we do not speak badly um, about his biological mother. Okay. We also make no excuses, right? So we say your mom loves you very much. She has stuff to deal with, and that's why she can't be here right now. Uh, and but uh, when she doesn't do the things that she show up for, I don't make excuses for that because I'm not going to take responsibility for that. So uh, I know that I've had discussions with some of my friends before, and they feel like I'm too honest then with him, but I don't. I guess I'm Dutch and honest, very honest anyway, and direct. But I don't believe that you have to lie to your children. Um, you can frame it different when you speak to children. I I feel I've worked in behavioral health for quite a few years. My question is like, am I wrong for wanting to have that honest dialogue with him, um, like I'm being told?
Like you're being told that you're wrong by some of your friends.
Yes.
Okay. So yes, I appreciate you saying that you're direct and honest being Dutch. I think that is very true. One of my closest friends is married to someone who's Dutch, and that straightforward honesty and directness is something that I have learned from her is part of Dutch culture. So absolutely.
Correct.
So you said something super important a few minutes ago, and I want to highlight it. And I think this is one of the most important things for families to consider when you are co-parenting. There's a parent out of the picture. There's a case of divorce. There's a case of non-biological children. One of the most important things is making sure that you are not bad-mouthing any of the parents involved, right? So being honest, hey, your mom can't be here because X, Y, and Z. Okay, but making sure that what you're sharing is facts and not your opinion and not a judgment, right? And I think that is the most important thing for you to be thinking about, being direct, being honest, because your point is a good one. Sometimes parents, in their attempts to protect, for example, a biological parent who's making decisions that are resulting in not being able to show up for their kid in a certain way, it ends up making them, the parent who is doing the better job caring, actually look bad because they're not being honest about what's really happening. And what we want to make sure is that we are in no way trying to shape the relationship with the child so that they are kind of like thinking positively or negatively about one parent. That's usually between the parents, and that is not about the kid and it's not for the kid. And so being honest, like, yeah, your mom didn't, plan ahead for this and wasn't able to get off of work or wasn't able to, fill the car with gas to drive here or whatever it may be. That is a fact. That's factual information that you're presenting to their child. As long as you're not doing it with any kind of like adjectives, like your irresponsible mom didn't do that. That's what you don't want to be doing, right? So presenting kids with facts, letting them take that information and make it, kind of deal with it themselves, and then being there for them because they are likely going to feel disappointed. And so being able to show up and validate they're disappointed and just let them be disappointed and be there with them is a way to have connection, to really acknowledge that their feelings are okay, their feelings are right. And if they are thinking they shouldn't be feeling that way, that's going to lead to some complicated emotions and thoughts down the road, right? And so just being there, letting them have their grieving for that experience or whatever it may be so that they can cope with it, deal with it, and then move past it is the best thing you can do for showing up for kids. And so being honest with them and being truthful, but in a way that is non-judgmental, not using any negative or derogatory language about another parent. You're entitled to all of your thoughts and feelings, but just not sharing it with their kids is really the key thing. And by trying, kids are so insightful. So by trying to protect the parent, you might actually either, be being dishonest with your kid that you're caring for in a way that they're going to later kind of be upset with you. Or, like I said earlier, or they're going to come up with a story in their head and it's going to be your fault that this thing happened because you didn't honestly share with them what happened. So if the circumstances are such that they're going to be really upsetting to a child or, really create a problem for that child, you might want to soften the language of the facts,
Hmm.
and be a little bit more vague about the facts, but just giving that information in a straightforward way, letting your kid know what's up, letting them have all their feelings about it, sit with them with those feelings, and then be available to them to also be able to move on and do something together that gives you a sense, it gives you a chance to connect. And, like you were talking earlier about holidays, like if there's a disappointment around a holiday, it's disappointing, and let's have as happy of a holiday as we can have together.
So for me, Haley, I think your situation, I love it for the podcast because I actually have a very similar situation.
Wow.
Um, I have, so your child, you said it was 11. My kid
Correct.
is going to be 10 early next year,
Okay.
and we've had full custody for him for a long time,
Hmm.
and we try it as much as possible to not talk negatively about his mom, his biological mom, because we have
Hmm.
a pretty decent co-parenting relationship. But just recently, um, it was a tough situation. But like, let's just say his biological mom was in the hospital for about a month and a half,
Hmm.
dealing with some struggles around mental illness,
Hmm.
and he wanted to know what was going on. So we were with him to the point where we thought it was age appropriate. We didn't give him every detail that we heard, but we told him like, "Hey, look, your mom struggles with this illness. He knows what the illness is and what it's called, and she's going to be in this place probably for about a month. And it's not that she's abandoning you; she's just working on herself to get better. And then once she gets out the hospital, we're going to make a plan for you to be able to see your mom." But like not revealing every single detail that's happening, because maybe some of that stuff isn't necessary for a 9 or 11-year-old to hear, right? But he
Hmm.
does need to know, like, hey, your mom is struggling with this. You're not going to see her for a while, and kind of set expectations so he doesn't think like negative things like I'm never going to see my mom again, or I'm never going to see my sister again. And those are some of the questions he was having.
That's the problem with his mother. She has severe mental health issues because we had to have that conversation. And uh, I've always been honest with him, and that's always what I say to him. Like, I do not lie to you. He said no. So, and he knows that because I will tell him some things, some truths, but also in an age appropriate way. And he was about when we were ready to tell him why. Um, like the last time, when she just did way too much. Um, and we had to go through all the court stuff and again because it happened multiple times. It was time to let him know why. It was time because he was being told by his siblings because we were still making sure that he was with his siblings. We let him go 1 week in a month and stay with them over there and do all the things. And while he was there, every time he came back, and we had to restart over everything again. And it was bad. And so they were telling him things that were not true. And that's when I sat down with my husband and I said, like, listen, we have to, we can't, because we were adamant from day one we were never gonna trash talk. And that's when we decided like we still have to be honest. And so
Mhm.
I understand it's so hard. It's so hard to do, but he has an understanding, like a basic understanding, but an understanding enough for an 11-year-old, and that he knows like, okay, well, I know that mom loves me, and I always tell him it's okay for you to love your mom, and
Mm,
you should love your mom, right? And and I always tell him because I said, hey, your mom will always be your mom. I said, you're just lucky because you get to have three moms because like you get to have me and then you can have Miss K and then you have mom. You get to have three. It's spoiled. So like I just kind of
mhm,
turn it around.
Jake, I want to comment on something you were saying about that line about honesty. I really want to point out something else that's really important, which is that your son's mother is suffering, from mental illness, and she is accessing help and care for that. And by sharing with him that she's in the hospital and she's getting help related to her disorder, you are also modeling for him the importance of accessing care. You're also sharing the importance of like destigmatizing mental illness. You were telling him that it is okay to get help if you're struggling with something that's mental in addition to something that's physical. And these are really important messages to be sharing with your child, both in terms of how he views his biological mother, but also how he thinks about accessing care himself as he gets older. So I think that it's really important to recognize, I know sometimes parents try to shield their kids and they'll say if a parent is in the hospital for illness, but physical illness, but not for mental illness. And I think it's really important to be able to share that with kids, even when they're young, because a hospital is a place that we go to get help. It is admitting the need for help. It is a form of vulnerability, but a really courageous form of vulnerability. And so I think it's really awesome that you are sharing that with him and explaining it in an age appropriate way. And it's unfortunate that sometimes he's going to get exposed to things that you're going to have to talk to him about prematurely because you don't want him to be aware of that at 9 years old. And the fact that he's telling you this and you're then able to educate him and talk to him and have a conversation and even ask, like, how did that make you feel? Or what was that like for you? Keeping those lines of communication open, you can protect him from everything, whether it's with his bio mom or even like other kids at school, right? But just knowing that you have those open lines of communication, that he's going to come to you, that he's going to tell you what he heard or saw, and that you can then have an open, honest conversation with him about it. I would argue that is like so crucial and important. And yeah, he can't unsee things and he can't unhear things, but you being able to talk with him and letting him know that he can come to you and share that and validate any of his feelings around that, that's really important. So I want to really encourage you to keep doing that.
Will do. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
This has been a heavier conversation, but it's I
has.
think it's a good one. I think, I guess what I'm hoping, Haley, is that there's a lot of parents that are like us that
Mhm.
share some of the same fears that get something out of this. And that's why we do the podcast, right? It's to help
It's
parents who are struggling with certain things. Maybe because parenting's super hard, maybe we could just find a little tiny way to make it a little bit better.
yes,
Now parenting's also rewarding and it's amazing in some situations.
yes,
But it also has challenges, and we all have our unique challenges. So
yes.
if you like this podcast, please, I'm trying to convince Dr. D to keep doing this with me. It's hard. So please watch it, like it, share it, do all the things. Y'all go check out Haley Thorne on TikTok and Instagram. Dr. D is on YouTube. You can find our podcast in YouTube. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, anywhere you can get podcasts. And if you are interested in coming on the show, reach out to me or Dr. D, ask us a question, and we would love to have you as a guest or even answer your question on the podcast. All right, thanks, guys. Y'all have a great day. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Hi.
Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please consider subscribing and leaving us a review. It really helps us out and lets others discover the show.